Welcome to the Deep Dive, brought to you by the PageJumpers Podcast, where two curious minds leap through portals of ink, spellcraft, and starships.
Thanks us.
If you're new here, know that your likes and subscriptions truly help us bring these conversations to life. It really does make a difference.
It absolutely does.
Today we're plunging into, well, the big one, the culminating volume of one of the most beloved fantasy series of all time, J.K. Rowling's Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows.
Yeah, the grand finale.
And this isn't just a recap, our mission is to really dig in, extract those crucial insights, maybe some surprising facts, and unpack that whole intricate web of secrets, sacrifices, and revelations that just define this epic conclusion.
Mm-hmm.
We'll be trying to uncover the deeper meanings behind, well, pretty much every choice and consequence, inviting you to maybe rethink what you thought you knew about characters and moments you thought were familiar.
It's a book that's absolutely bursting with layers, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
We're going to be examining that final desperate struggle between good and evil, but hopefully through a lens that offers some, fresh perspectives.
Right.
Forget merely recalling plot points. We're here to explore the profound psychological tolls, the ethical dilemmas, and those unexpected shifts in allegiance that make this story so extraordinary.
Okay, so to kick us off for our cold open hook today, I want to immediately pull you into that chilling atmosphere Voldemort creates right from the very first chapter.
Malfoy Manor.
Exactly. We're often told how Voldemort views Nagini as his pet, almost like a familiar. But the source material, Deathly Hallows, it shows us something far more sinister, far more intimate and terrifying, right there in that opening scene.
Definitely.
We see this immense snake emerge from beneath the table, climbing slowly up Voldemort's chair, and she comes to rest on his shoulders. The description is intense. Her neck is the thickness of a man's thigh, her eyes with those vertical slits, unblinking.
And Voldemort strokes her absently with those long, thin fingers. It's creepy.
It really is.
What's truly unsettling here isn't just the sheer scale of the creature, but the way Voldemort interacts with her. This isn't a pet, is it?
No, not at all.
This is a living extension of his fractured soul, a Horcrux, right? And a chilling symbol of his twisted control and, his capacity for some kind of distorted intimacy.
That's a great way to put it, distorted intimacy.
Yeah, it visually represents his reliance on external objects for his immortality, which is, ironically, a profound vulnerability he refuses to acknowledge.
Mm-hmm.
And the way her body coils around him, becoming almost a part of him, it just speaks volumes about his self-absorption, his inability to genuinely connect with anything outside himself, not even his own followers. It's like a dark mirror of companionship.
That's a fascinating observation. It also immediately highlights the diminished, fearful status of someone like Lucius Malfoy, doesn't it? We see him visibly shrinking when Voldemort coldly asks, "What is it about my presence in your home that displeases you, Lucius?"
Oh yeah, the tension is palpable.
The subtle power plays in that room just set the tone for the entire book. Voldemort isn't just brute force. He's a master manipulator, controlling not just actions, but perceptions, creating this atmosphere where even his most loyal servants are terrified of, offending him.
It's true. That initial scene perfectly encapsulates the fundamental shift we see in Deathly Hallows compared to the previous books. The stakes are undeniably higher.
Absolutely.
The fight is no longer hidden in the shadows or just confined to Hogwarts anymore. Voldemort's power is escalating. It's permeating every corner of the wizarding world, creating this atmosphere of just palpable fear.
Right.
The source vividly describes his consolidation of power, detailing how he systematically infiltrated the Ministry of Magic with, honestly, chilling efficiency and stealth.
Like the imperious curse on thickness.
Exactly. For instance, we see his cold calculation in placing that curse on pious thickness. The text notes he did so with difficulty and after great effort, which is interesting, but the outcome is precise. Scrimgeour must be surrounded by our people before I act.
It's methodical.
It is. This isn't brute force. It's a meticulously planned, systemic takeover, targeting the very institutions meant to protect the wizarding world.
And while Voldemort is ascending, our hero, Harry, is simultaneously in, the most precarious position he's ever been in.
Definitely.
He's still at Privet Drive, nearing his 17th birthday, which means his mother's protective charm, that last bastion of safety he had, is about to break.
The end of an era for him.
Totally. The very beginning of Chapter 2 shows us Harry bleeding from a broken cup, Dudley's idea of a booby trap, of all things.
Right.
Such a mundane irritation, but it's a shocking, stark reminder of the underlying, unimaginable danger. He immediately realizes, with this sense of grim finality, that there'll be no going back after leaving Privet Drive. It's a sudden, jarring, almost brutal end to any semblance of childhood sanctuary, isn't it? Forcing him into an adult world far too quickly.
This forced maturity, this abrupt dissolution of his childhood protections, it's a profound theme that resonates deeply, I think. It's incredibly relatable to anyone who has faced a significant life transition where you suddenly feel exposed and vulnerable, where those safety nets you always relied on are just gone.
Yeah, definitely.
And Mad-Eye Moody's plan, born directly out of this precariousness, it's a testament to the dire circumstances. The Seven Potters decoy strategy using Polyjuice Potion isn't just some clever trick, it's a desperate measure.
It really highlights how utterly vulnerable Harry has become.
It does. And there's that chilling detail that Snape had plenty of time to tell him everything about you he's never mentioned before.
That line.
Right. This single line underscores the deep mistrust and the constant suffocating threat of betrayal that looms over Harry, making him question even those he once considered allies.
Yeah, it's a brilliant way to sow seeds of doubt, not just for Harry, but for us as readers too. We're right there with him, wondering who to trust.
Exactly.
Speaking of threat and betrayal, let's dive into the immediate harrowing cost of war. That journey from Privet Drive to the Burrow is one of the most intense, chaotic sequences in the entire book, I think.
It's absolutely nonstop action.
Death Eaters are in relentless pursuit. The text says, 2 jets of green light flew past his left ear, and Harry defiantly shouts, "Stupefy." But his wand, the source tells us, emits this unusual red bolt of light and gold flames, which is a whole other mystery in itself.
Right, the Wandlore starts kicking in early.
But it's an immediate, brutal plunge into chaos and loss right at the outset.
And the losses are immediate and devastating. The tragic death of Alastor Mad-Eye Moody is described with such chilling brevity, simply, Voldemort, he can fly, went straight for them.
Yeah.
This highlights not only Voldemort's escalating power, the flying thing is terrifying, but also the sheer speed and unexpectedness with which their most seasoned protectors can fall.
And Mundungus.
Oh, Mundungus Fletcher's panic and disapprobation in that moment. It isn't just a show of cowardice, though it certainly looks like it. It highlights the extreme psychological pressure and the fragility of their defenses under fire.
Good point.
Then, at the Burrow, the immediate aftermath is described as a frost of absence, waiting for news.
It's awful.
Ron and Tonks' delayed return, and then the revelation that George has lost an ear to a cursed spell. It really brings home the brutal, visceral reality of this war. It's no longer theoretical, it's painfully real, and it touches everyone.
And this leads us directly into what I consider a core moral conflict, almost a mini debate that's central to Harry's character development, right?
With Lupin, yeah.
We see that heated argument between Harry and Lupin regarding Harry's continued use of Expelliarmus versus the absolute grim need to kill in this new brutal war.
Lupin is just beside himself.
He is utterly exacerbated, he asserts. The time for disarming is past. These people are trying to capture and kill you. He reminds Harry with his desperate edge, you were hundreds of feet up. Stands not himself, and if I stunned him and he'd fallen, he'd have died the same as if I'd used Avada Kedavra.
Which is a fair point, pragmatically speaking.
It is, but Harry defiantly retorts, I won't blast people out of my way just because they're there. That's Voldemort's job.
It's such a powerful and often overlooked moment, isn't it? This isn't just an argument about tactics, it's a fundamental philosophical clash.
Absolutely. About the nature of good and evil.
Right, about whether the ends justify the means in the direst of circumstances. Harry's stance is a direct, unwavering rejection of Voldemort's methods, even when facing existential threat to his own life and everyone he loves.
It speaks to his inherent goodness.
It does. And his conviction that they must fight differently from Voldemort or they risk becoming just like him. Lupin, on the other hand, embodies the tragic pragmatism of war, doesn't he? The agonizing choices forced upon decent people when survival is on the line.
It really forces you, the reader, to consider, in a war for survival, how much of your morality are you willing to sacrifice?
Yeah, it's heavy stuff. And what's fascinating is, right after this, we get this overlooked but crucial detail when Kingsley immediately suspects, but somebody betrayed us. They knew it was tonight.
Yes. That line hangs in the air.
It's a small, almost throwaway line, but it immediately sets up future revelations and builds suspense around the pervasive nature of Voldemort's influence, highlighting that the threat isn't just external, It's coming from within.
Exactly. And the pervasive influence doesn't stop at infiltration and active attacks. It extends to reputation, especially when it comes to the legacy of Albus Dumbledore.
Ooh, Rita Skeeter. Here we go.
Right. After Bill and Fleur's wedding is tragically interrupted, Skeeter's scandalous biography, The Life and Lies of Albus Dumbledore, throws Dumbledore's entire life and intentions into question.
It's pure poison.
It promises shocks, implying he dabbled in the dark arts himself in his youth and had an extremely murky past, even claiming he had an unnatural interest in Potter. It's a full-on character assassination.
Designed to dismantle his heroic image just when the wizarding world needs it most. Classic Skeeter.
Totally.
This really connects to Harry's intense inner turmoil, and it's a good spot for an empathy dive into his experience, I think.
Yeah, definitely.
For years, Dumbledore was Harry's unwavering guide, his mentor, the one person he implicitly trusted. But now, everyone around him is questioning the man he believed in, the very foundation of his fight against Voldemort.
He must feel completely adrift.
Exactly. Harry's internal monologue is searingly clear. He wanted the truth. Why was everybody so determined that he should not get it?
It leaves him just wondering if everything he thought he knew about Dumbledore was a carefully constructed lie.
And Dumbledore's cryptic bequests only deepen this mystery, don't they?
Oh, absolutely. The Deluminator to Ron, which proves to be a literal way back for him later on.
Such a Dumbledore move, right? The tales of Beedle the Bard to Hermione, which becomes a crucial lead to the Hallows, and the snitch to Harry, which holds that powerful secret within. I open at the close.
Goosebumps.
And then Scrimgeour, who's clearly under ministry influence by this point, refuses to give Harry Gryffindor's sword, claiming it wasn't Dumbledore's to give.
Adding insult to injury.
These aren't just gifts. They're an elaborate, posthumous set of instructions, forcing Harry to grapple with Dumbledore's secretive nature and trust him even after his death. It's a huge burden.
And this leads us to a fascinating, maybe even controversial hot take about what's truly going on behind the scenes with the Ministry.
Yeah, the political angle is really pronounced in this book.
The source material strongly implies the Ministry, under Voldemort's growing influence, is not just infiltrated, but actively suppressing the truth about Voldemort's return and Dumbledore's death.
It's more than implied, isn't it?
Well, yeah. Consider Scrimgeour's aggressive questioning of Harry, jabbing him with his wand and singeing his t-shirt. This isn't standard legal procedure. It's a politically charged intimidation tactic.
Definitely not protocol.
And the front page of the Daily Prophet declares Harry wanted for questioning about the death of Albus Dumbledore, which is just a blatant smear campaign.
And Lupin confirms it later, doesn't he? With that grim face, he says the official version of Scrimgeour's murder is that he resigned. He has been replaced by Pious Thickness, who is under the Imperious Curse.
Game over for the Ministry, really.
It's a chilling parallel to how authoritarian regimes operate, isn't it? The Ministry isn't just infiltrated, it's become a propaganda machine.
Twisting facts, silencing dissent.
Creating a climate of fear and misinformation. This isn't a subtle power grab, it's a complete psychological and political takeover. It highlights how easily public discourse can be manipulated in times of crisis, and how truth becomes the first casualty.
Which means Harry, Ron, and Hermione are not just fighting Death Eaters anymore.
No, they are fighting an entire system of lies and suppression that has permeated the very heart of the wizarding world. The bravery required to resist becomes not just physical, but intellectual and moral. It's immense.
Absolutely. This level of control from the top down, it just underscores how isolated our heroes truly are. And the immense pressure on the trio as they begin their Horcrux hunt is just palpable.
You feel it constantly.
Hermione's heartbreaking enchantment on her parents, where Wendell and Monica Wilkins don't know that they've got a daughter, is such a devastating example of the sacrifices they're forced to make, severing ties with their past to protect them.
It's brutal. And the book also emphasizes the excruciatingly painful process of remorse required to heal a fragmented soul that has made a Horcrux.
Yeah, that detail is important.
It's not just an abstract concept. It's presented as the profound spiritual agony, a process Voldemort is clearly, utterly incapable of understanding or enduring, which is ultimately why he's so broken. He can't even conceive of remorse.
And that pressure, combined with the Horcrux's insidious influence, leads to one of the most painful moments for the trio, and frankly, one of the most complex character moments in the series. Ron's departure.
Oh, Ron leaving, yeah. This is where we can really do an empathy dive into a character who's often misunderstood in this particular arc, I think.
Totally agree. He gets a lot of flack for it.
He does. Ron's frustration boils over. He yells, "We thought you knew what you were doing. We thought you had a real plan." But what's crucial to understand is that the locket Horcrux isn't just making him irritable.
No, it's feeding on his worst fears.
Exactly.
So,
It's amplifying his deepest, most primal insecurities. We hear its whispers, preying on his fears. Least loved, always, by the mother who craved a daughter. Least loved now by the girl who prefers your friend. Second best, always, eternally overshadowed. It's brutal, relentless psychological torture wearing that thing.
it truly is. This is not just a tantrum, it's a visceral manifestation of his deepest wounds, made so much worse by the dark magic. And what's often overlooked here is the profound impact of that locket Horcrux, not just on Ron, but on the entire trio dynamic. It doesn't just make them irritable, it systematically preys on their most vulnerable fears and insecurities, driving this wedge between them.
It nearly breaks them.
It does. Ron's emotional struggle is amplified to the breaking point. Yet Harry's developing empathy is key here. He tells Ron, "It's your family, of course you're worried. I'd feel the same way. I do feel the same way."
He gets it, even then.
He understands Ron's struggle because he's feeling it too, but he finds the strength to push through, contrasting with Ron's momentary collapse. This highlights the insidious psychological warfare they're enduring, not just physical battles, and the different ways they process that intense pressure.
And on a related note, an often overlooked but surprising fact that many readers might miss, which actually explains prior attacks and forces a critical change in how they operate, is the jinx on Voldemort's name. The taboo.
Ah, the taboo.
Yeah. Ron eventually revealed it with a shudder. "The name's been jinxed, Harry. That's how they track people. Using his name breaks protective enchantments. It causes some kind of magical disturbance. It's how they found us in Tottenham Court Road."
Such a clever plot device.
It is. This revelation forces them to adopt code names, like rapier, and radically alter their communication strategies, emphasizing the ever-present danger and the almost omniscient reach of Voldemort's power. It's a brilliant piece of world-building that ties together seemingly random attacks throughout the story and just ramps up the stakes even higher. They can't even speak his name.
Incredible. Okay, moving into the heart of the mystery now. Let's talk about the Deathly Hallows themselves. This deep dive into these legendary objects begins subtly, doesn't it? With Harry noticing that mysterious symbol appearing almost everywhere.
Yeah, it just keeps popping up.
It's on Dumbledore's signature in the Tales of Beedle the Bard. He spots it later on Ignotus Peveril's grave in Godric's Hollow, and we later learn of its sinister connection to Grindelwald. Its recurring presence slowly, then suddenly, elevates its significance beyond mere lore to something absolutely critical.
And it's the wonderfully eccentric Xenophilius Lovegood who finally lays it all out for them in a rather bizarre but crucial exposition of the tale of the three brothers.
At Luna's house, right?
Yeah. He explains the Hallows, the Elder Wand, described as the unbeatable wand, the Resurrection Stone, which can bring back the dead, supposedly, and the true invisibility cloak, which renders the wearer completely invisible and endures eternally.
And he makes a key distinction about the cloak.
He does. This isn't just any invisibility cloak. Xenophilius specifically states it's a cloak that really and truly renders the wearer completely invisible and endures eternally, giving constant and impenetrable concealment no matter what spells are cast at it.
Which immediately tells Harry and us that his cloak is special.
Exactly. It sets Harry's cloak apart from mere common invisibility cloaks, revealing its unique, incredibly powerful, and ancient nature. It's a genuine relic, not just a magical item passed down. It is the third Hallow.
The analytical depth here is significant. The Pemerol brothers are revealed as the original owners, and this revelation directly links the Hallows to the Horcrux hunt, doesn't it?
It's the big connection. We learn that Marvel O'Gaunt, Voldemort's grandfather, proudly claimed descent from the Peverils, and the Ring Horcrux, one of Voldemort's earliest creations, actually had the Peveril coat of arms engraved on it.
Mind blown.
Right. This means the two great quests, the Horcrux hunt and the search for the Hallows, are intrinsically intertwined. It's all connected, leading Harry to understand that Dumbledore's plan was far more intricate, more layered, and frankly, more dangerous than he ever imagined.
It's almost as if Dumbledore was leading him to a choice between power, represented by the Hallows, and sacrifice, represented by the Horcrux hunt, without revealing the full picture.
Precisely. But before these final pieces truly fall into place, they face one of the most harrowing and emotionally brutal experiences of their journey. The Malfoy Manor ordeal.
Ugh, Malfoy Manor. Just thinking about it.
Harry's capture is terrifying, especially after Hermione's self-inflicted jinx distorts his face, making it huge, shiny, and pink. Yeah. A desperate attempt to protect him that only heightens attention.
And Draco's hesitation.
Yes. Draco Malfoy's hesitation to identify Harry adds such a complex, almost pitiable layer to his character. It shows his profound reluctance to fully embrace true evil, even as Bellatrix Lestrange is just brutally interrogating Hermione about her Gringotts vault.
Bellatrix is unhinged there.
Completely, screaming, "You are lying, filthy mudblood, and I know it. You have been inside my vault at Gringotts. Tell the truth, tell the truth." Her desperation, fueled by her own dark obsession with Voldemort and purity, makes her particularly sadistic.
And it's in this moment of pure, suffocating terror that we get one of the most profound acts of heroism from such an unexpected source, Dobby.
Dobby the Free Elf.
He makes a brave and utterly unexpected intervention, appearing as if from nowhere with that shard of Sirius's mirror, a symbol of broken connection now reforged for salvation.
It's brilliant. He rescues Luna, Dean, and Ollivander, demonstrating incredible loyalty and courage, a defiant stand against the very masters he once served.
But it culminates in just that heartbreaking, gut-wrenching moment. Dobby's tragic death by Bellatrix's knife, a final act of malice from her. His last whispered words, "Harry Potter," just echo the depth of his devotion and the purity of his sacrifice.
Dobby's sacrifice is a truly pivotal moment, isn't it? Not just for the emotional weight it carries, but for its profound impact on Harry and the narrative's broader themes about freedom and loyalty.
Yeah, definitely.
And Harry's decision to bury Dobby by hand without using magic is a deeply significant act. It's a raw, human gesture of respect and grief.
It contrasts so sharply with how the wizarding world generally treats house-elves.
Exactly. And Griphook, the goblin, watches this act intently. It visibly challenges his deeply ingrained perception of wizards as inherently self-serving and exploitative. He knows, with a hint of surprise and maybe grudging respect, "You are an unusual wizard, Harry Potter. You dug the grave."
That line is crucial.
It is. The small act of empathy and respect, this unusual wizarding behavior, becomes critical later on, subtly laying the groundwork for the Gringotts heist and the complex, ultimately fragile trust Harry attempts to forge with the goblin.
And from the depths of Malfoy Manor, after the emotional devastation of Dobby's death, we move to the intricacies of Wandlore, another crucial piece of the puzzle.
Which Ollivander, having been rescued, finally reveals.
Right. He explains that wand allegiance can change when a wand has been won, and critically, it's not necessary to kill the previous owner.
Such a seemingly minor detail, a nuance in magical theory, but it becomes a major crack in Voldemort's entire plan.
A fundamental misunderstanding that will ultimately lead to his downfall.
Indeed, this is the crucial revelation. The Elder Wand, also known as the Death Stick or Wand of Destiny, despite its fearsome reputation, operates by allegiance, not solely by murder.
But Voldemort doesn't get that?
No, he's obsessed with it as the only way to defeat Harry's wand, believing he needs to shed blood to master it. Ollivander confirms that Dumbledore's defeat of Grindelwald meant Dumbledore became the Elder Wand's master. This seemingly technical point sets up the final conflict perfectly.
Because Voldemort's understanding of power is all about domination and fear.
While the Elder Wand operates on a subtler, almost psychological principle of mastery and winning allegiance, he just doesn't grasp it.
And speaking of conflict and intricate rules, this brings us to another mini-debate, a really controversial hot take maybe. A behind-the-scenes look at power dynamics. The argument with Griphook over the ownership of the Sword of Gryffindor.
Oh yeah, the tension there is thick.
Ron argues, "We're Gryffindors, and it was Godric Gryffindors." But Griphook interrupts, "It is not," in response to Ron's claim that it's theirs. He demands, "And before it was Gryffindors, whose was it?" Challenging the very basis of their claim.
It's more than just a squabble over a sword, isn't it? Ron tries to argue, it was made for him, wasn't it? But Griphook shoots back, no.
Yes, he claims goblin ownership.
Yes. This isn't just about a magical artifact. It highlights a deeper systemic conflict between wizard and goblin views on ownership, heritage, and labor. Griphook sees wizards as thieves, asserting with this simmering resentment, "As the Dark Lord becomes ever more powerful, your race is set still more firmly above mine. Gringotts falls under wizarding rule, house-elves are slaughtered, and who amongst the wand carriers protests?"
Wow, that's a powerful accusation.
It is. It's a fascinating, uncomfortable look at the behind-the-scenes power struggles and deep-seated prejudices within the magical world. It forces you to acknowledge that even in the fight against Voldemort, the heroes are still part of a flawed, often unjust, system. It's a quiet but powerful commentary on social inequality within the wizarding society.
This complex dynamic carries directly into their daring Gringotts break-in, which is truly one of the most exhilarating sequences in the entire book. Just pure action.
Absolutely nail-biting. The details are incredible. Hermione's polyjuice potion disguised as the terrifying Bellatrix Lestrange.
Imagine having to act like her.
Right. Ron as Red Catamol, and Harry under the invisibility cloak pretending to be Runcorn. Then the Geminio and Flagrante curses in Bellatrix's vault create this utterly chaotic, terrifying scene where replicas burst out of it like white-hot bodies filling the cramped space. This rising tide of red-hot, duplicating treasure threatened to burn them alive.
Just claustrophobic and terrifying.
And the daring, utterly audacious escape on the back of a dragon is pure cinematic brilliance. A truly epic sequence that cements their status as master infiltrators.
But not without further betrayal, of course.
No. Griphook vanishes with the sword, highlighting again that trust is a very fragile commodity in this war, especially across species lines.
Okay, now let's talk about the climactic return to Hogwarts. The castle under siege, transformed into the epicenter of the final battle.
The Battle of Hogwarts, yeah. Harry's scar burning, that excruciating direct connection to Voldemort. It reveals that the Dark Lord has finally realized the Horcruxes are being destroyed.
He's figured it out.
We read Voldemort's tormented inner monologue. He, the greatest wizard of them all. How could Lord Voldemort not have known if he, himself, most important and precious, had been attacked, mutilated? His terror and fury are palpable.
Culminating in that scream of realization.
Yes, he knows where it is. He's there now.
Right.
Referring to the diadem at Hogwarts. This connection isn't just a plot device. It's a window into Voldemort's fractured psyche, his panic.
And it's here we properly meet Aberforth Dumbledore, Albus's estranged brother, who plays this quietly crucial role in saving the trio.
Through the Hog's Head, yeah.
And more significantly, in revealing the painful, often ignored truth about Ariana Dumbledore. Her tragic death, Aberforth's deep-seated blame for Albus, and the dark utilitarian motivations behind that idea for the greater good that once drove Albus and Grindelwald are all laid bare.
We learn that Albus and Grindelwald, in their youth, sought the Hallows for the greater good. But Ariana died as a result of their reckless duel. This revelation just shatters the idealized image of Dumbledore that Harry, and indeed many readers, had held on to.
It's a real anti-vision segment for Dumbledore, isn't it? Showing him as deeply flawed, ambitious, even manipulative in his youth.
Absolutely. Yet Harry's decision to trust Dumbledore despite these shattering revelations is a testament to his own conviction and growth. He determines with his resolute strength that he had no desire to doubt again. He did not want to hear anything that would deflect him from his purpose.
It's not blind faith anymore.
No, it's a conscious choice to believe in the essence of Dumbledore's ultimate plan, even when his personal history is revealed to be far from perfect. It showcases Harry's capacity for forgiveness and his unwavering focus on the greater mission. It's a mature step beyond simplistic hero worship.
It truly is incredible. And amidst the chaos of the battle, we also see Neville Longbottom's incredible transformation
Yes.
into a true leader of Dumbledore's army. He absolutely gets this room, referring to the room of requirement, understanding its needs and loopholes, becoming the man who helps them find the diadem Horcrux.
He really comes into his own.
And his proud declaration of his parents' legacy, a deeply overlooked detail maybe, is one of the most touching and empowering moments for his character. She sent me a letter telling me she was proud of me, that I'm my parents' son, and to keep it up.
Oh, that's right, from his crown.
He's no longer the shy, clumsy boy. He's a beacon of unwavering courage, drawing strength from his family's sacrifice and fulfilling their legacy in the most heroic way possible. His journey from accidental hero to battle commander is one of the quiet triumphs of the series.
Absolutely. And that brings us to arguably the most shocking, most revelatory moment of the book. Snape's true story. The legendary Prince's Tale.
The chapter everyone talks about.
Voldemort's cold-blooded murder of Snape, believing it will make him the Elder Wand's true master. While you live, Severus, the Elder Wand cannot be truly mine. Sets the stage for this profound shift in perspective.
Harry dives into Snape's pensive memories.
And what he sees completely recontextualizes everything we thought we knew about Snape, right from his very first appearance in Sorcerer's Stone.
This is truly our anti-vision segment for Snape, isn't it? For years, we've seen Snape as this bitter, cruel, ambiguous figure, an antagonist for Harry, and even seemingly the cold-blooded murderer of Dumbledore.
The ultimate villain, seemingly.
But the pensive reveals this gut-wrenching truth. His childhood friendship with Lily Evans, his undying obsessive love for her, and his deep, agonizing regret at her death, which drove his entire life's purpose from that moment on.
It's heartbreaking. We see Dumbledore's immense, almost terrifying, trust in Snape as a double agent. To give Voldemort what appears to be valuable information while withholding the essentials is a job I would entrust to nobody but you.
We learn Snape's role in protecting Harry, including even unintentionally hitting George with Sectum Sempra when aiming for a Death Eater, showing his conflicted loyalties in the heat of battle.
And the most shocking twist of all, the one that redefines Dumbledore's character as much as Snape's, is Dumbledore's instruction for Snape to kill him.
The ultimate request.
It was a prearranged act, a strategic sacrifice designed specifically to secure the Elder Wand's allegiance by ensuring its true master would remain elusive to Voldemort. This makes Snape, unwillingly, its temporary master.
And that powerful, poignant image of Snape's Patronus.
A shimmering doe, identical to Lily's. That is the ultimate aha moment for the listener, a complete reversal. Snape transforms from villainous antagonist to a tragic hero, driven by a love so profound it transcended death and public scorn.
It reviews how Dumbledore manipulated events, not just for Harry's success, but to orchestrate his own death in a way that served a greater purpose, securing the Elder Wand's allegiance and ensuring Voldemort would never truly master it.
It challenges us to question appearances, to look beyond the surface, and to understand that even outwardly villainous acts can serve a hidden, noble purpose. Dumbledore's chess game was far more complex, morally gray, and utterly brilliant than anyone, even Harry, ever realized. He was playing the longest game.
And all these profound revelations, these intricate layers of sacrifice and secrecy, they lead directly to Harry's ultimate act of sacrifice.
His walk into the forest.
He understands, with chilling clarity, that he himself is a Horcrux, an accidental fragment of Voldemort's soul lodged within him, and he must die for Voldemort to be truly defeated, for the Dark Lord to become mortal again.
The weight of that realization.
His internal conflict is immense, the weight of the world on his young shoulders, yet his resolve is unwavering. The Resurrection Stone grants him that vision of James, Lily, Sirius, and Lupin walking with him, providing this ethereal source of courage.
Their reassurances are chillingly comforting, almost poetic. Dying. Not at all. Quicker and easier than falling asleep.
It's Harry's final, lonely, incredibly brave walk to what he believes is his absolute end, a true hero's self-immolation for the greater good.
And this leads us to the iconic, surreal King's Cross limbo scene, one of the most philosophical moments in the entire series, I think.
Yeah, the white space.
Dumbledore appears, serene, wise, and finally profoundly vulnerable guide in this ethereal, dreamlike space, explaining Harry's miraculous survival. It wasn't just Lily's blood protection that saved him, but Harry's presence as the seventh Horcrux he never meant to make, that parasitic piece of Voldemort's soul.
And the flayed child.
Ugh, yes. The horrifying image of the flayed child trembling under the seat is such a stark, unforgettable representation of the fragment of Voldemort's soul that was latched onto Harry, now grotesque and separated, unable to move on.
It's disturbing.
This scene also allows Dumbledore, finally, to confess his own deeply flawed past with Grindelwald, his youthful temptations with the Hallows, and his acceptance of his own profound moral failings. He admits his youthful desire to be master of death, and questions, with genuine introspection, was I better ultimately than Voldemort?
Wow.
It's a moment of profound vulnerability, self-awareness, and humility from a character often portrayed as infallible, reminding us that even the wisest among us grapple with their past demons and ambitions.
Okay, finally, after this journey through sacrifice and revelation, we arrive at the unveiling of truth and the ultimate victory. Harry returns to the battle, alive but feigning death.
And Narcissa Malfoy.
Yes. Narcissa Malfoy's pivotal lie to Voldemort, he is dead, is a desperate act born purely from maternal love to protect her son, Draco. It's a moment that beautifully demonstrates that she no longer cared whether Voldemort won, only that her child was safe.
It's a small, deeply human act of self-interest, really, that inadvertently serves the greater good. A moment of profound, undeniable maternal love overriding allegiance to the Dark Lord. It's huge.
And then, the dramatic climax in the Great Hall. Harry pulls off the invisibility cloak, a symbol of concealment now discarded, confronting Voldemort in plain sight.
Face to face.
Voldemort attempts to use the Elder Wand against Harry, only for it to fail spectacularly, proving Harry's mastery. This is the flaw in the plan, isn't it?
The loophole Voldemort missed. That intricate chain of magical allegiance that Voldemort, in his arrogance and misunderstanding of true power, completely missed. The Elder One's allegiance never truly transferred to him.
Let's break it down.
Okay. Snape, its temporary master after Dumbledore's prearranged death, was killed by Nagini Voldemort's agent. But crucially, Snape was not disarmed by Voldemort. Voldemort didn't win the wand from Snape.
Right.
Then, going back, when Draco disarmed Dumbledore in the Astronomy Tower, he became the Elder Wand's true master, completely unbeknownst to him or anyone else.
Poor Draco carrying that power.
And Harry, by physically wrestling Draco's own wand away from him and overpowering him in Malfoy Manor, became the Elder Wand's true unwitting master.
Wow, it's so intricate.
This intricate, almost poetic chain of events, set in motion by Dumbledore's foresight and inadvertently completed by Harry's actions in defense, led directly to Voldemort's ultimate, humiliating downfall when his own curse rebounded.
It's an incredible insight for us, the listeners, that the victory isn't just through brute power or superior magic, but through understanding, intricate planning, and the unyielding force of Love Lily's sacrifice, Narcissa's love, even Snape's obsessive love.
Absolutely. It's a powerful counterpoint to Voldemort's single-minded, self-destructive pursuit of power and his overwhelming fear of death. He fundamentally misunderstood the very nature of what makes a wand truly powerful allegiance, not just bloodshed. He was obsessed with the legend rather than the loyalty.
The series then beautifully concludes with the 19 years later epilogue showing Harry, Ron, Hermione, and Ginny as adults, their children heading to Hogwarts, a poignant image of continuity and hope.
James, Albus Severus, Lily, Rose, Hugo, a whole new generation, innocent of the war, ready to embark on their own adventures. The cycle continues.
The scene carries such a powerful relatability factor for any parent or child starting something new, right? With Albus's fear of being sorted into Slytherin.
Oh yeah, that fear is universal.
Harry's reassurance to Albus is a particularly sweet, profound note that embodies the series' core themes. It doesn't matter to us, Al, but if it matters to you, you'll be able to choose Gryffindor over Slytherin. The Sorting Hat takes your choice into account.
It's about agency, ultimately, about choosing your path, not just being sorted into one by fate or heritage. It matters what you choose to be.
And we see Neville Longbottom, once the clumsy, shy boy, now Professor Longbottom, teaching herbology and embodiment of the profound transformations seen throughout the series. A quiet triumph of courage and perseverance.
It's a quiet, profound sense of peace and continuity after the monumental struggle, leaving us with those enduring themes of love, friendship, choice, and courage that ultimately triumph over hatred and prejudice. It's a metatake, really, on the enduring legacy of overcoming darkness with light. The story lives on.
As we wrap up this deep dive into Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows, let's leave you with a final provocative thought to ponder. What if Dumbledore had shared all his secrets with Harry from the very beginning?
Ooh, good question.
His full history, his specific plans for the Horcruxes and the Hallows, the true nature of Snape's allegiance. Everything. Would it have made Harry's journey easier? Or would it have deprived him of the crucial growth, the painful discovery, and the fierce independence necessary to actually defeat Voldemort?
Yeah, would he have been ready? It's a fascinating question of mentorship, independence, and the heavy burden of knowledge. Would it have crushed him? Or empowered him?
Yeah,
hard to say.
Definitely something to think about.
And to continue that journey of thought and explore similar themes of destiny, unlikely heroes, and corrupting artifacts, I'd also suggest checking out, well, the classic, The Lord of the Rings.
Can't go wrong there.
Its themes of an arduous journey to destroy a powerful, corrupting object, and the resilience of ordinary people, well, hobbits in the face of overwhelming evil, resonates so deeply with Harry's story. It might remind you of a grand, epic fantasy, but with those added layers of philosophical depth that make you question the true cost of heroism.
That's a brilliant recommendation. And speaking of journeys, we're just beginning ours here on the Deep Dive, part of the PageJumpers Podcast. If you found value in this deep dive, if you had an aha moment or just enjoyed the chat,
Hopefully you did.
please consider giving us a like. It truly helps us bring more of these conversations to you, and we'd love to hear your take. What was the most surprising revelation for you in Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows?
Yeah. What blew your mind?
What's your hot take on any of the characters or plot points we discussed today, or maybe something we didn't even get to? Share your thoughts in the comments below.
We read them all.
And don't forget to subscribe to this channel on YouTube. It really helps us grow our community. Thanks for joining us on this leap through the pages.
And we'll catch you on the next one.